All right, if you're an Amazon seller, you know that feeling. It's that one email that can just spike your stress levels through the roof, a chargeback notification. But look, don't worry. In this explainer, we're going to open up the official seller playbook and turn that sense of panic into a clear, actionable plan. So there it is. It lands in your inbox and your heart just sinks. A customer has gone completely over your head, straight to their credit card company to dispute a charge. And yeah, it feels personal, it feels complicated, but the very first thing you need to do is just take a breath. Because what you do in the next few days, it's absolutely critical. Okay, so before we dive in any deeper, let's just make sure we're all on the same page here. What exactly is a chargeback? This isn't your average return, you know? This is when a buyer completely bypasses you and Amazon and goes straight to their bank to say, hey, I want my money back for this. And that is what kicks off this whole formal investigation, pulling you right into the middle of it. Now, this brings us to probably the most urgent part of this entire process, the notification itself, and the really, really tight deadline that comes along with it. So it all starts with this, an official email from Amazon. And let's be really clear here. This isn't just a friendly heads up. This is your call to action. Inside that email, you're going to find all the initial details, the order number and the reason for the claim, like item not received or maybe not as described. I want you to burn this number into your brain. Seriously, if you take only one thing away from this whole explainer, please make it this: 7. This number is your new top priority. You have exactly 7 calendar days to respond. And I mean calendar days. We're talking weekends, holidays, everything. It's not business days. Why so strict? Well, it's because the credit card companies have their own rigid timelines that they impose on Amazon. If you miss this deadline, it's basically game over. Amazon will most likely just debit the amount right out of your account. The decision is made for you, and your chance to fight back is gone. Poof. So that clock is ticking, and now you're facing a critical choice. You have 2 and only 2 ways you can respond. This is your first major strategic decision. So on one hand, you can just issue an immediate refund. This is pretty much you accepting the claim and ending the whole thing right then and there. On the other hand, you can choose to represent your case. And that means, well, you're going to fight it. So let's break down when to choose each one. Okay, so when is it actually smart to just cut your losses and issue that refund? Well, it's pretty simple. When you know you messed up, or, and this is more important, when you just don't have the hard evidence to prove that you didn't. The classic example, right? An item not received claim where you cheaped out and didn't use tracked shipping. Without that proof of delivery, it's your word against theirs, and you are almost certainly going to lose. Refunding right away just saves you a ton of time and a massive headache. But what if you did everything by the book, you know? What if you have that tracking number that clearly shows delivered? Or you've got photos proving the item was exactly as you described it? Well then, my friend, it is time to represent your case. This is you formally asking Amazon to step in, take the evidence you provide, and defend you against the card issuer. Okay, so you've made the call. You're gonna fight this. Let's get your battle plan ready. Here's exactly how you represent your case so you have the best shot at winning. The process itself is actually pretty straightforward. You just log into Seller Central, you head over to the Performance tab, and then find Chargeback Claims. From there, you just click Represent Your Case, double-check the details, and then fill out the form with all your evidence. It's a simple little interface, but what you put into that form, that's everything. This right here is your evidence checklist. You've got to be methodical about this. The shipping date, the courier name, the tracking number, and here's the absolute key. You need delivery confirmation. A simple screenshot from the courier's website showing that beautiful word, delivered, is pure gold. If the claim is about the product itself, include those details. And hey, don't forget any messages you exchanged with the buyer. Sometimes they provide really important context. Now listen up, because this is a huge pro tip. The comments section where you write your defense, that is for Amazon's internal investigators only. The buyer, they will never ever see it. And this is huge. It means you can be direct, you can be factual, just stick to the point, explain exactly why the chargeback is bogus, and don't waste a second worrying about how the customer might feel about it. And just look at this slide. This is a perfect response. It's so clean, so simple. Date shipped, courier, tracking ID, delivery status. And the proof? A direct screenshot from the courier. This is exactly what an Amazon investigator wants to see to go to bat for you. No emotion, no long story, just the cold, hard facts. So you've gathered up all your evidence, you've submitted your case, and now, well, now you wait. So what's actually happening behind the scenes during this time? Well, once you hit that submit button, an Amazon investigator takes over. They're going to review all your evidence, compile it into this formal document. They call it a representment. And then they submit that directly to the buyer's bank on your behalf. You've basically handed them your case file, and now they're acting as your lawyer in this whole dispute. All right, just like we had that magic number 7 at the beginning, here is the next critical number you need to remember for this phase: 90. And that's because the final decision from the bank can take up to 90 days to come through. And yeah, sometimes even longer. This isn't Amazon's timeline, by the way. This is just how the banking system works. They move at their own pace, so you really have to be patient. After you submit your case, just set a reminder for yourself and try to put it out of your mind. After weeks, maybe even months of waiting, the decision finally comes down. So let's talk about that final verdict, and more importantly, how you'll find out what happened. Okay, pay really close attention to this because it's a little weird, but it's super important. Amazon will only email you about the outcome if you lose. If you win, you often won't hear a thing. The case just kind of quietly closes in your favor. It's because their system is really just built for exception reporting. So in the strange world of Amazon chargebacks, no news is actually the best news you can get. And what if you do get that dreaded email saying you lost? It's really important to understand this. The bank's decision is almost always final. The chance to appeal is incredibly rare. And this is exactly why providing that strong, clear evidence inside that initial 7-day window is so important. It's usually your one and only shot. So let's boil this whole thing down. If you walk away with anything today, remember these 4 golden rules. 1, you absolutely must respond within 7 days. 2, your best friend in this entire process is rock-solid shipping and delivery proof. 3, be honest with yourself. If your proof is weak, just issue the refund and move on with your life. And 4, at the end of the day, remember it's the bank, not you and not even Amazon, that gets the final say. Look, handling a chargeback is never going to be fun, but it doesn't have to be this panic-inducing mystery anymore. With this playbook in your back pocket, you have a clear, logical process to follow. So the next time that email arrives, you're going to know exactly what to do.